Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Talks with Thompson podcast. I am excited to talk to today's guest. He is another RJ. This is RJ Huebert. He is the managing principal at HBT Digital Consulting here in Pittsburgh. Thanks for being here, man.
You know what? I only want to talk to people named RJ going forward.
I can tell you right now that folks with the name RJ make for the best conversationalists.
Listen, I'm not one to toot someone's horn, but you have a great podcast voice. What I'm hearing is just, music to my ears.
Wow. Thank you very much. I've got the face for radio situation. RJ, folks, if you're listening, anytime you meet someone whose nickname essentially is our initials, you always have to ask what the RJ stands for. So RJ, what does the RJ stand for?
This is going to be completely ridiculous to your listeners because it's the exact same as yours, Robert John.
Oh my God.
Spelled the exact same way. The John, the Robert, so they are family names. The Robert was my dad's name, and the John was my grandfather's first name. So wow. They were family names.
Wow. Yeah. So are mine. My father's a Robert. My father before him, he's a Robert. I can trace my lineage back to like early 1800s, and the first Thompson to come over to America from Ireland was a Robert. So can't escape the name. But I've never actually met another Robert John.
I think I've talked to a few, but never in this kind of relationship.
So we're obligated to be best friends now.
Hey, let's do it. We're wearing Pitt shirts for everyone that can see visually. Right. Pitt Panthers.
Or, I think we might have a really solid podcast gimmick here. If you remember way back in the day when Steve Carell and do you remember on Comedy Central on the Daily Show, they would do Steve Carell would have his show with the other Stephen Colbert, and they would argue with each other?
No.
Oh,
no,
man.
No.
Well, I just ruined your afternoon because you're going to jump on YouTube and take a look at those things, and they're really funny. But we could get like a really good sort of back and forth, agree, disagree situation here.
So, we don't have to talk marketing at all.
No, well, we're talking productization, and now I'm going to ask you to how can we monetize it?
Oh, we have to find our audience.
That's right. So, anyway, we'll carry that subject on to another point in time. But thanks again for being here and taking the time. I really appreciate it. I became aware of you and your work through the American Marketing Association, the Pittsburgh chapter, where you've been a board member for about 2 years, a little over 2 years now.
That's right. I'm on the programmatic event side of things, and my role is just to kind of support where necessary. I did launch my own business. It will be 2 years in May, and my majority of my focus has to be on that and growing that and getting clients and doing the client work. So I like being a part of the AMA and helping where I can, especially some of the sick events they do. I didn't have much of a hand in Marketer of the Year, but great event. I've been part of the Level Up series where we did like an in-depth Google ad optimization kind of, I don't want to call it a course, but like a learning, and some other really fun ones. So it's just a good thing to be a part of.
I recently became a part of the organization, starting on the communications committee by way of
Sorry, your audio is kind of cutting in and out there.
Oh.
I can't hear you.
No, I'm just messing with you now. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it sounds muffled. It sounds like if someone put a pillow on your face.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully that resolves itself.
Yeah, that sounds better right there. I don't know.
All right. Well, anyway,
it came back, and now you're sounding good. Now you're sounding good.
I got to work through my audio. I'm not an audio guy.
You're just a guy with a cool name and a cool beard.
Thank you very much. So I got associated with AMA through Mackenzie Ferrone, who I've spoken to on this podcast. And I've really enjoyed my time, helping out the board on the communications committee, and then joining the board this summer as the VP of partnerships. So I'm looking forward to working with you on the programming side, especially at Pitt. But I always think it's kind of funny how, like, when I was in school, I have a design background, so I was a part of the AIGA, and when I was on the board, like, we had this like friendly rivalry with AMA. It's like, yeah, we like our marketers, we work with them, but there was just something to separate the two organizations. And I was on the AIGA board for 2 years, and now that I'm helping out the AMA, like, the experiences are really, they're far apart. The AMA group seems really invested and progressive and always working towards, a big event or some programming that you had mentioned, providing benefit nevertheless, through unique ways. So thanks for that. That was a really long way to get to a compliment, but nevertheless, I want to talk about you. And I want to know about sort of your journey to your marketing career, and then we can get into some of the nitty-gritty details. So where did it all begin? What was the spark?
Well, RJ, listen, at one point in my life, I was a student. It really began there, and it really began in grad school. I was at University of South Florida studying strategic communication management, which is a fancy way of saying PR, really, and kind of how you wordsmith things and campaigns and things like that. So I was into 5K races too, and I was like, I'm learning about marketing. I have a passion for 5K races, for running. I wonder if I can start a 5K race. And it really bloomed from there. I was like, look, I'm learning the textbook stuff, but can I execute in person? Can I build a brand? Can I communicate with my members and audience? Can I sell things? Will people buy what I'm putting out? And the answer was yes. Over 10 years later, over 6,000 runners, over 25 plus 5Ks, because we have not one brand, not two brands, three brands: the Great Mother's Day race, the Great Father's Day race, the Great Gay 5K. My partner Claire and I, we met in grad school, and it was a joint 50-50 thing. We're like, can we do this? And the answer is yes. And for your listeners, they can do it too.
Oh, absolutely. I tell my students all the time, like, if you're not thinking about being an entrepreneur now in class while I'm lecturing, then you need to start thinking about that right now, immediately, because the skills that they're developing on the marketing side, the design side, they can act on those now and certainly later. I love hearing the story about your racing business, because one of the things that I found is that there aren't enough races, like, especially if you're a dedicated runner, you're always looking for opportunities to race. And in some cases, it doesn't even matter, like, if it's honoring someone, it could be a charity 5K or whatever, like, it's a race, like, you find it.
You wouldn't believe in Tampa Bay, the race community, but also the sheer amount of races. And I'm not kidding when I'm saying on any given weekend prior to COVID, you could find at minimum like 5 different races, because it was insane over the course of, hundreds and hundreds of races just in Tampa Bay. St. Pete, Clearwater, and Tampa is just, the sheer amount is insane. Whereas you mentioned here in Pittsburgh, and I can only name maybe 5-7 races. A lot are at North Park. Obviously you have the Pittsburgh half and full marathon, but here you're limited, I think, because of, you don't want to start closing down roads, really, because it gets super pricey. And the parks here, from what I can tell, the trails aren't, super large to accommodate, a bunch of runners safely. And I don't know. I don't know about throwing a race here in Pittsburgh, but I knew the market down there in Tampa Bay.
And it's still going strong.
Sorry, you cut out there.
Oh, and your business is still going strong, like, you know.
Well, yeah, actually. So
driving?
last year, March hit, COVID hit, and our race was in May. So we postponed to 2021. And actually we're postponing it again to 2022 because we did not flip on the live registration, just because we didn't know about vaccinations and how safe and secure it would be for a May and June race. Now it's looking like, according to Biden, the world's going to open May 1. Everyone's going to be vaccinated and partied. He said specifically July 4th, you'll be cooking hot dogs with your neighbors. So, we don't have to go down that path, but it's just, it's a fun business to be in. I knew my community. Also positioning, which is another marketing term for you students out there. I wanted to create a race that had a theme, and I wanted racers to keep coming back. 10 years ago, the thing was the color runs, where they throw the dust up and you run and you get glitter and you dance and you have fun, but you don't do that race more than 2 times. You do it twice, you're done. You're like, I'm tired of smelling all this stuff and getting into my nostrils and in my eyeballs. But I was like, look, what if there was a Mother's Day race where you could do an annual family 5K tradition, which is our slogan. And every year you run it with your mom, you feel good, you try to beat each other, you're improving your times, you're getting the pictures at the free photo booth, you're getting the medals and the shirts. We provided a pretty cool experience, and they came back year after year. That's
fantastic. So at what point then did you decide to start your own digital marketing practice?
Well, there's I want to mention, when I was doing this 5K business, this was all on the side, AKA side hustle, if you know anything about that. I was always the corporate marketing guy. So right out of grad school, 10 years, specifically lead generation in very sales oriented organizations. So how do we get someone to pick up a phone, respond to a postcard, do a billboard, do Google ads with a call to action, call this number now to get X, Y, or Z. We funnel those leads to the salespeople, and salespeople flip it for something else. So 10 years working in for-profit education, which was interesting. People that wanted like a short-term career training, like a nursing tech, phlebotomy, X-ray tech, somebody with 9 months career training, boom, you get a job, in the medical fields. And then I went to a credit union. I did Medicare and Medicaid for a big healthcare provider, and then found myself in Pittsburgh. My wife brought me from Tampa to Pittsburgh.
Good woman.
She wanted to get her MBA at CMU, which she finished, guys, our MBA. So go Taylor.
Yeah, great job. Congrats.
But
yeah, MBA.
Yeah, tough for me too. Dealing with her stuff.
Yeah.
But long story short, I was in the corporate world, busting it for somebody else, somebody else was earning and eating the fruit of my labor. How dare they? And I knew I could make a buck from the 5K races, right? I knew I could launch and attract the right person. And I had the corporate world experience. I had the, launching my own brands. And then I was like, look, people are paying me on the side. Even in the corporate world, I had 2 side hustles, the 5K races, but I was always doing PPC management for you people out there. That's search engine marketing, AKA PPC, pay per click, Google ads, Bing ads, know it, learn it, love it. And I was doing that on the side. I was like, look, I'm building someone else's business. I could just start my own thing. I have paying clients now. Let's make it big.
Awesome. That's glad. I'm glad to hear that. So, so you're having a lot of success with your business, and you're taking on clients. You mentioned pay-per-click, search engine marketing. From a services perspective, what are all the things that you offer?
Well, here's the thing. When I first launched my company in May 2019, I wanted to be everything to everybody. Oh, RJ, you need an email campaign? I got you. Hey, you need a website update? You need a website? I got you. Hey, but it's very hard to be a professional and a pro in everything. Sure, I could do it, and I could do it well, but I wanted to focus. I want to be the PPC guy, and I want to be the social media, I'm sorry, social marketing, like social advertising.
Yes.
So I'm niching down. I'm niching down big time. I'm only doing search engine marketing and social media advertising right now.
I'm glad to hear that. You know, I often so I've had a lot of students in the past. They end up starting their own practices. You know, they start out small, but they take on all the work because they're essentially capturing seed money to sustain and grow their business, right? So they're doing all different kinds of projects, and I always tell them, like, okay, you know, if you got to do that to get your bank account going, like, that's fine, so be it. I know the hustle there and the challenges, nevertheless. But at some point, you're either going to consciously choose to specialize in something, or you'll organically find that it's a specialization is just happening for you.
Well, are you a big reader?
Yes.
There's an amazing book. Maybe you've read it. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called Built to Sell.
Yes.
For the listeners out there, the 1-minute version is there's an ad agency owner. He specializes in graphic art, but he's doing custom billboards. He's doing website art. He's involved in everything, and he can't, as the business owner, pull himself out because it's custom work for all your clients, and he can't pull himself out. He's in the weeds. So he decides to specialize in only doing logos, but being the best logo maker ever. He productizes it, the logo, and then he has a step-by-step how to sell it, a document, and how to implement. And he gives the document to the sales guy and the document to the artist on his team. And he eventually starts to remove himself. And now he's the business owner and other people are taking care of the work. That's the model I am going after and I'm trying to do, where I'm productizing my search engine marketing, I'm productizing social media advertising, and I'm going to have a salesperson that can sell it. I'm going to have the person that can do the work, and I'm going to build like that.
Love it. I'm on my 4th LLC, and I should have taken that advice 2 LLCs ago.
What are your LLCs?
So the first one was design agency. Like, we just did graphic design and web design. We stayed out of, you know, all manner of digital marketing. You know, we could do advertising concepts. We would just do the work, right? Just do the graphic work. And then I eventually merged that into another company that I founded with 2 other people, a PR guy and a marketing person, and that was called Shift Collaborative. And they're still around. I was creative director and co-owner for about a year before I decided to sell my end and move on. And as a part of that, a hub and spoke consultancy I started called Up2, UPTO. I sold that to them as well. And then it was a few years after I started, it was a number of years later, actually, I started my 4th company. It's a B corporation called Plus Public. And primarily what we do is we build branded communication platforms for municipalities. So we primarily work with government, developing logo systems for cities, municipalities, boroughs, whatever. So brand identities, websites, building out communication strategies, integrating all of their social media planning and everything.
I love it. I love it. That's amazing. I love that you have the entrepreneurial spirit, but I love your target audience of governments and municipalities because they have a little of this. And for those that can't see what I'm doing, I'm rubbing my fingers together because they have large budgets.
Yeah, so cheddar cheese, right? You know, it's funny that they do, yes. So they're a financially healthy sort of audience, but the problem is that they don't know how to spend their money. So, for example, if I meet a mayor and I say, "Oh, hey, you know, I've heard of your community. I've heard you're having some, you know, your businesses are leaving. Economic development is in a rut. Would love to be able to help you." He's like, "I would love to have that help, but you're gonna have to wait an entire calendar year until we get a new budget approved by the city council."
Yeah, and I'm sure there's like no one, decision maker. It's got to go to 10 people. And the communication aspect alone has to be pretty difficult to navigate.
The sales funnel is just so long.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
is so long. But
Well, I'm finding that same for my business too. It takes a while from a lead to close some business, even for me. Not a year, but
yeah, I mean, well, so like coming back to my business real quick. So it takes a long time to acquire the client, and then it takes even longer to do the job. So I'm working with Hermitage, Pennsylvania right now. And we started working with them a year ago, this past January. And the public process, so our point of view is that we're designing all of these assets for their residents, their internal stakeholders, basically. And the best way to represent a community is to have its stakeholders have a voice in the creation of the work. So we have this really long public process where we're showing these new logos, getting feedback, revising, and then ultimately it has to go, in this case, it has to go to 3 or 4 different governmental bodies to get approved. But the journey is so arduous that 20 or 30 years from now, that thing that I made is still going to be in use, which is pretty cool.
yeah, no, it's cool. I mean, graphic artists, you're a designer, I think, by trade, and it's like you can see it everywhere. I love it.
Yeah. So what makes for an exciting client for you?
Somebody that has money for advertising. Because I tell you, a lot of businesses, they want traffic and they want customers, but they don't want to spend money to acquire them, which, you're not going to grow if you're not advertising. There's a reason Coca-Cola, they're still advertising, right? I do represent some law firms. I heard there's one firm, I won't say where, they spend $65,000 a month on Google ads alone.
Mm-hmm.
That's over $500,000 just on Google ads and just on search ads, no display, no YouTube, because they're hyper focused and hyper aware of where they're trying to spend their money. So I don't remember the question, but it's somebody that wants to acquire new customers.
Yeah, no, like those are exciting clients when they come to the table, they're ambitious, they've got the money to support their activity, and they just say go for broke, right? And do what you can and bring in those people. Law firms are great for that. I've had some law firm clients and on the web side. So while they were doing all the SEM, PPC, so even social media advertising, that website had to be really solid for them to convert prospective clients into actual clients. So yeah, law firms are great to work with from the financial perspective, and usually I've found that from a design perspective, they are I might regret saying this, but like they aren't as picky. Like it's more of a methodical operation when designing a law firm website. They know what the trends are. Generally, they're very well informed. They know what the trends are in the industry, who's doing what, how, and when. So their decision making isn't binary, but it's very direct and specific. And it takes a lot of the creative opportunity out of the equation, which I think for them is a good thing.
I get a buzz when I build these lead gen campaigns on Google and set up the conversion tracking and then launch, campaigns looking to get new calls for them or new form fills. And then we start seeing the leads come in. That's a great feeling. That's a high. I'm sure you get it when you launch something like the website, but just seeing campaigns be successful, because what I tell clients is like, not all campaigns are successful. We are going to have failures. What I think is going to work in my mind, it may not work for them. One story I love to tell, and you probably have this from a design element, but when I was working at the for-profit medical school, we did a direct mail campaign. One was this real glossy front and back, beautiful photos of students, high gloss, just a beautiful postcard that you pick it up and you would be very impressed. You'd be like, wow, this is beautiful. The second postcard we tested, an A/B test, was a handwritten letter that looked like it came from their grandma. It said, hey, been trying to reach you, call me at this number. Well, when we launched the campaign, I was like, this beautiful postcard is going to win out 100%. It's beautiful. But the one that drove the most conversions and had the most success for the company was a handwritten postcard that we dropped. So you never know what's going to work.
Always got an A/B test, right? That's awesome. So one of the things that keeps coming up, and I try to tell my students to get ahead of this, is I've found that like training modules, training programs through Google and Facebook, that they're becoming bigger. There's more of them, and there's different variations of them. Obviously, you can, if you want Google Ads certification, you go straight to Google. But there are a number of different opportunities for you to learn that. I'm curious what your recommendation would be for marketing and design students, because I'm telling both, like, designers, be aware of what the marketers are doing, marketers, be aware of what the designers are doing, try to blend your skills as much as possible. What would your recommendation be on an approach to learn how to do search engine marketing and everything that Google does?
So the best way that I learned personally, I have to actually do and build campaigns. So I would start watching YouTube videos on Google Ads, what it is. And then I would make my way to the free trainings and look at the Google Ads certifications, the videos, then you do the test, you get certified. That's all free. It takes a lot of time. But then I would just tell somebody, create a Google Ad account and set it up and build out campaigns and keywords, learn about the keyword planner, and just start building things out. You may not have a website or a product that you want to promote. That's fine, but you can still build something out as like a test. And if you're still like super interested, see if you can, intern with somebody or, help out. If you want, you can actually go to like Upwork and try to bid on some jobs. And you can say, I'm entry level, but if you price it right, maybe somebody will give you a chance. That's all you need, is that foot in the door.
Great advice. I think for me personally, it always comes down to a time issue. How long did it take to do the Google Ads cert?
Well, there's one for search, display, video, and products. It takes, so there's like training modules, and it'll take a solid 4 to 6 hours.
Wow.
They're broken up. There's like 6 different modules of like, 30 to 45 minutes each. And then you do that. And then there's a practice exam, and then one full exam. The exam is like 80 questions. You have 75 minutes to do it.
Wow. Okay.
And if you don't get an 80 or above, you fail it. There's no public ridicule or shaming. No one knows. And you actually have to wait one more day, and then you can take it again. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's cool. So they build in, failure, and you're able to
they're hard exams, honestly. The way they form the questions. I mean, you're an educator. You guys all mess with the students. I got the students back over here. Just the way you give the example in the class, write it the same way on the test. You don't have to switch it up and make it difficult.
Question, clearly, yeah. So it takes a lot of time to do the certs, but obviously well worth it in the end. I
was going to say, and then you get to promote yourself on LinkedIn after you get that certification. You say, look, I'm Google Ads certified. And that looks good to people. And now when you're interviewing, you drop that I'm Google Ads certified, and people are like, ooh.
LinkedIn loves diplomas and certificate graphics. I mean, those seem to get like the most traction anytime I see them. But so like for the designers, I recommend interactiondesign.org, learning about UX and design thinking and stuff like that. For the marketers, obviously, I recommend Google, and I've been enjoying the HubSpot certifications, despite the fact that I don't use HubSpot. Which,
Yeah, HubSpot's great. Just creative is so important. And that's part of the reason why I gravitate towards PPC, because it's more analytical, and you write some copy, but it's more about the keywords and the targeting and the audience than designing a beautiful brochure or designing a beautiful website. Like it's an art, and it's hard to do well.
I agree. So moving forward, we're getting towards the end of our time together, unfortunately. Like, we'll have to do this again.
The RJ show.
Yeah.
Literally.
I like it. We'll do a second episode where we're just brainstorming on names. I want to know a little bit more about where you want to take your business into the future. So you're 2 or so years in. What's the next sort of step at that 5-year mark? Or maybe it's starting a new business, or what's that landscape look like for you? Because when you start one company, you're going to start another and another. It becomes a.
I don't know what my wife would say about that one.
Fair enough.
But so I have revenue goals that I try to hit, and I actually try to double revenue year over year. I just set my goals high, and I'm on pace to do that this year. So if I can, the goal is, have a sales guy or gal, have a PPC person in house, have an account manager, and I kind of want to lead, maybe director of strategy, and lead the company. But I want people to execute the vision. So that's the goal. That's probably the 5-year plan. Have some employees to do the work, and have myself lead the organization.
That's awesome.
I don't want to be huge, 5 or 10 employees. Like, I want to have a fun organization. I think we're coming to a time where we're really going to value those in-person experiences, even at work. Like, I work at home for myself, but when I was in corporate, it sucks to be here, but you had your friends. So I want to have a great organization, and I think I can do that and have a good learning experience for everybody. I want everyone to support each other, and family, it's not going to be a family. Let's be honest. I hate when corporations, it's a family. No, but we're going to tolerate each other and like to be there, like to solve problems. And then we're going to go have a beer after work, and we're going to have fun. And hopefully everyone's going to make a lot of money. That's my goal.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I want everyone to be successful. It's not, because ultimately they're, going to be delivering the work and keeping the client happy. They should be compensated well. I want to compensate my employees extremely well. That's the goal too. Also, I just revised my mission and vision. So every month I am going to partner with a new nonprofit and raise awareness and help with charitable drives for that nonprofit of the month. So I've done 3 this past year, January, February, March, and I'm going to look to continue that. But I want, as the company grows, I want to bring on nonprofit partners, raise money for them, and kind of give back in like a circular sort of way. Where I'm successful, more people in the community can be successful too.
That's a similar mentality to the structure of Plus Public. As a benefit corporation, we basically our corporate ideals, we obligate ourselves to providing resources, and sometimes money, sometimes it's in-kind service, whatever, but giving back to the community or nonprofits, or in the case of my target audiences, municipalities, with the work that we're doing. And that's optimal. What nonprofits have you helped?
So one was, I'm going to pull it up. Well, okay. So the reason I'm going to pronounce it wrong. One of my interns, Abby, she is part of, she's in the Jewish community, and they have a Jewish nonprofit in Chicago. It's called, I'm going to say it wrong for all of my Jewish friends out there. I'm sorry. Mao Chittim is a nonprofit in Chicago that we helped. Also, one that was near and dear to my other intern, I have 3 interns, is called Safe Journey, and it's in Union City. And basically, it helps protect people of domestic violence if they need help getting out of that situation. And then one in Hazelwood is called Center of Life. It just helps children in the Hazelwood community with like education programs. So my other intern, the 3rd intern, actually volunteered there. So these 3 months, I was trying to showcase and support causes that were near and dear to them.
That's awesome that you're letting them choose, and they're having some influence on the shape and design of not just your company's outreach, but the work that they're doing is connected to that. So
yeah, it's not all about me. I'm trying to help make everyone feel good and supported.
So we're getting towards the end here, and I want to know, what grounded practical advice would you have for marketing and design students that you think they may not get in school?
Try to launch something and try to make a buck doing something that you love. I was a fan of 5K races, so I tried to launch one. But try to sell a t-shirt, try to sell something. They don't really teach that in school, how to be a great salesperson, how to showcase attributes and benefits, and really build a community is probably the biggest thing. So let me focus on that. Build a community around something that you like or support. If you can build a community, you can sell something to that community.
Absolutely. And so depending on what it is, I mean, it might sell itself. That's like an optimal outcome.
Sell a membership to that community. If it's such a cool thing, I don't know, maybe it's this exclusive on-campus membership group. I don't know, Skull and Bones or something like that. And I don't know, maybe you can bring that back, make it super exclusive, $2,000 a semester to join, but you have access to the elite. Maybe it's application based, but I don't know, just have an idea, test it, launch it, talk to people about it. One thing I did learn in school that was great was surveying and talking to people and getting other feedback, be it, in a focus group or an actual survey where you run up with somebody and you have 10 questions. Hey, let me get your feedback for XYZ. That can be really great too. If somebody wants to test an idea to see if it has some legs, try to get a survey or focus group going. Buy your friends some pizza and beer if you're of age, and shop your idea.
Pizza and beer goes a long way.
Still to this day.
Yep. It's the universal language. Well, RJ, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today and talk to the students. If they're interested in reaching out or learning more about you and your work, how can they find you? How can they connect?
Well, thank you for the plug I can do here, RJ. So they can check out hbtdigital.com on social. It's just at HBT Digital Consulting, one word. And my personal is just RJ_HBT. That's kind of where the HBT comes. It's like a play on my last name, Huebert, HBT. But also this year, I'm trying to kind of brand it, and it's helping businesses thrive.
Awesome. Well, I have no doubt that you'll be able to do that and help them thrive well beyond their expectation.
Listen, you're doing a great job in the community. You have a great Twitter presence. What's your Twitter so everyone can follow that?
Oh, my Twitter. It's simple. It's at RJT Pitt, Pitt. And thank
Everyone
you
should
for that.
follow that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm not in it for the vanity metrics and the likes. I just like connecting with people. I'll tell you what, my Twitter is still my favorite platform. I'm absolutely sick to death of Facebook, and I don't get a whole lot out of LinkedIn, but all of the connectivity that I get on Twitter it's had a profound effect on my skills and outlook on how I do my work.
Yeah. Yeah, I love Twitter too. I love it more for like the breaking news or
Yeah.
comments on like culture and like things I'm interested in. So that's what I appreciate about it.
And also our hilarious back and forth banter that has yet to transpire, but hopefully will after this episode launches.
Oh, I'd love it. Let's keep it up.
All right, sounds good. Thanks,
Hey,
man.
thanks for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
Well, hopefully we'll check in with you again someday soon.
Happy to.
See ya.